notebook. There we go. So now would be a great time to grab a notebook and paper and pen if you'd like to participate in journaling. And please do, if possible, not always possible for you, but if possible, find a comfortable space to relax and be present for the service if you can. So while we await some others to join, I'm going to give you a little refresher on Psanctuary. Psanctuary Church is a 508c1a faith-based organization. Kind of a mouthful, I know. We use psilocybin mushrooms as a sacrament to connect us to divinity. So if you, like many others throughout history, hold these mushrooms as a sacred, as a sacrament for sincere and intentional spiritual practice, you can inquire about becoming a member by clicking on the landing page of our website, that's psanctuary.org, or by sending an email to Athena at info@psanctuary.org. Please do consider donating to Psanctuary. All donations currently go towards helping us with legal costs, basic operations, and finding a rental location for in-person services, hopefully sooner than later. We have a great vision here at Psanctuary, which includes a community built on sustainability through permaculture and more opportunities for services with our sacrament for members. We do welcome cash as well as in-kind donations. So for cash donations, please see the link, which will drop in the chat area if it's not already there, or you can sign up for our newsletter and we'll send out links for donations there. You can also purchase t-shirts, which I have one on right now. We can give more details on the t-shirts, maybe in the discussion after the service. So these Sunday services are a place that we gather together as a currently small but growing community. Although we don't partake in the sacrament during these services, we find common ground together in our recognition that the mushroom has brought us together. So for more information on sacramental services currently available, you can reach out to Athena at that email address I mentioned before, info@psanctuary.org. So the service part of our gathering is around 30 minutes of silent participation on your all's part. Athena and I will be facilitating the service today, and then Eric will be leading an optional discussion afterwards, which we will allot about 1 to 1.5 hours for. So until noon, we'll allot discussion time for. And we do invite you to participate in that if you feel called. I want to give you a heads up that in the near future, we'll be holding the discussion portion for members only. So we'll announce this in advance, but just to give you a heads up that will be coming, a members only discussion after the service at some point in time. We do consider this discussion space to be very private and sacred. So we have 2 readings every Sunday. We'll be moving through different texts throughout our time together. Right now, we're reading from the Tao Te Ching and also the Science of Being Great. We chose these readings because we feel that they communicate the messages we've often received from our time spent with the sacred mushroom, but in a little bit different of ways. So we'll also read from a poem, which is read to acknowledge our oneness with all that is. So it is 5 after. So I think everyone is here that will probably be here. And I will pass things over to Athena. So please do get as comfortable as you can. And again, thank you for joining us today. I do hope to see you at discussion afterwards. If not, have a great week. Thank you.
Thank you, Courtney. That was great. Thank you again, everyone, for being here. Welcome. And again, I invite you to find a comfortable position, and we'll take a moment to acknowledge why we've all come together today. Again, we're so happy and grateful to be gathered together to expand our experience of the collective consciousness. We recognize our oneness with each other and nature, and we strive to become more aware of this in our everyday lives. Also to note, if you are on your cell phone, I am sharing slides, and you may want to, if you want to see those slides, you can swipe left and follow along with the service today. So we're just going to take a moment. We're going to take about 5 minutes to really settle in and get grounded and think about those intentions today, why we're coming together, why you've joined us. And we're going to take a moment to really sit in that space and feel the collective conscious energy that we all bring to it. And I'll begin that now. So let's take a deep breath. you like to take another deep breath and find yourself present in this moment together. We'll move to our first reading.
This is chapter 11 from the Tao Te Ching. 30 spokes converge upon a single hub. It is on the hole in the center that the use of the cart hinges. We make a vessel from the lump of clay. It is the empty space within the vessel that makes it useful. We make doors and windows for a room, but it is these empty spaces that make room livable. Thus, while the tangible has advantages, it is the intangible that makes it useful. This is a litany of gratitude poem. I invite you to join me when I recite the verse, "We live in all things live in us." If you're in a quiet enough space, you can unmute your mic for that so we can all feel that resonance. So here we go. We live by the sun, we feel by the moon, we move by the stars. We live in all things live in us. We eat from the earth, we drink from the rain, we breathe of the air. We live in all things. All things
live in us.
We call to each other, we listen to each other. Our hearts deepen with love and compassion. We live in all things. All things
live in us.
We depend on the trees and animals. We depend on the earth. Our minds open with wisdom and insight. We live in all
things.
All things
live in us.
We dedicate our practice to others. We include all forms of life. We celebrate the joy of living and dying. We live in all things. All things live in us. We are full of life. We are full of death. We are grateful for all beings and companions. Thank you.
All right, and I will begin our reading from chapter 11, Science of Being Great. If you were to stop with the close of the last chapter, however, you would never become great. You would be indeed a mere dreamer of dreams, a castle builder. Too many do stop there. They do not understand the necessity for present action in realizing the vision and bringing the thought form into manifestation. Two things are necessary. Firstly, the making of the thought form, and secondly, the actual appropriation to yourself of all that goes into and around the thought form. We have discussed the first, now we will proceed to give directions for the second. When you have made your thought form, you are already, in your interior, what you want to be. Next, you must become externally what you want to be. You are already great within, but you are not yet doing the great things without. You cannot begin on the instant to do the great things. You cannot be before the world the great actor or lawyer or musician or personality you know yourself to be. No one will entrust great things to you as yet, for you have not made yourself known. but you can always begin to do small things in a great way. Here lies the whole secret. You can begin to be great today in your own home, in your store or office, on the street, everywhere. You can begin to make yourself known as great, and you can do this by doing everything you do in a great way. You must put the whole power of your great soul into every act, however small and commonplace, and so reveal to your family, your friends, and neighbors what you really are. Do not brag or boast of yourself. Do not go about telling people what a great personage you are. Simply live in a great way. No one will believe you if you tell them you are a great person, but no one can doubt your greatness if you show it in your actions. In your domestic circle, be so just, so generous, so courteous, and kindly that your family, your wife, husband, children, brothers, and sisters shall know that you are a great and noble soul. In all your relations with people, be great, just, generous, courteous, and kindly. The great are never otherwise. This is your attitude. Next, and most important, you must have absolute faith in your own perceptions of truth. Never act in haste or hurry. Be deliberate in everything. Wait until you feel that you know the true way. And when you do feel that you know the true way, be guided by your own faith, though the entire world shall disagree with you. If you do not believe what God tells you in little things, you will never draw upon God's wisdom and knowledge in larger things. When you feel deeply that a certain act is the right act, do it and have perfect faith that the consequences will be good. When you are deeply impressed that a certain thing is true, no matter what the appearances to the contrary may be, accept that thing as true and act accordingly. The one way to develop a perception of truth in large things is to trust absolutely to your present perception of truth in small things. Remember that you are seeking to develop this very power or faculty, the perception of truth. You are learning to read the thoughts of God. Nothing is great and nothing is small in the sight of omnipotence. God holds the sun in its place, but God also notes a sparrow's fall and numbers the hairs of your head. God is as much interested in the little matters of everyday life as in the affairs of nations. You can perceive truth about family and neighborhood affairs as well as about matters of statecraft. And the way to begin is to have perfect faith in the truth in these small matters, as it is revealed to you from day to day. When you feel deeply impelled to take a course that seems contrary to all reason and worldly judgment, take that course. Listen to the suggestions and advice of others, but always do what you feel deeply in the within to be the true thing to do. Rely with absolute faith at all times on your own perception of truth, but be sure that you listen to God, that you do not act in haste, fear, or anxiety. Rely upon your perception of truth in all the facts and circumstances of life. If you deeply feel that a certain person will be in a certain place on a certain day, go there with perfect faith to meet them. They will be there, no matter how unlikely it may seem. If you feel sure that certain people are making certain combinations or doing certain things, act in the faith that they are doing those things. If you feel sure of the truth of any circumstance or happening, near or distant, past, present, or to come, trust in your perception. You may make occasional mistakes at first because of your imperfect understanding of the within, but you will soon be guided almost invariably right. Soon your family and friends will begin to defer more and more to your judgment and to be guided by you. Soon your neighbors and townsmen will be coming to you for counsel and advice. Soon you will be recognized as one who is great in small things, and you will be called upon more and more to take charge of larger things. All that is necessary is to be guided absolutely in all things by your inner light, your perception of truth. Obey your soul, have perfect faith in yourself. Never think of yourself with doubt or distrust, or as one who makes mistakes. If I judge, my judgment is just, for I seek not honor from men, but from the Father only. So we will now take a time to reflect on our readings from today. And so if you'd like to grab your journal and a pencil, and we have a couple prompts. How can these readings be viewed through the lens of the sacred mushroom? How can these readings be applied to everyday life? And if you're not writing, we'll take about 5 minutes again to just reflect on what came up for us during those readings. And I do hear someone, I think, in the kitchen. Maybe if we could mute, that would be awesome. All right. I invite you to come back from reflection. And this concludes our service for today. I'd like to close by saying and recognizing that we've all come together with intentions of service to the land and all its inhabitants. It is in our hearts to go forth into the world with the collective consciousness. We encourage you to stay for a continued discussion and conversation around our readings today and how they relate to some of the experiences we've had with the sacred mushroom. And for those who are unable to stay, we thank you for joining us today. And I will end our recording